Welcome back to another edition of SportsZone. We're starting off with the good stuff, Studio 90. I'm joined here by Lucas and Jessica. So this week, a lot happened to World Football, but we'll be focusing specifically on the Champions League. Four great matches this week. I thought all of the games were really good, really entertaining. We'll start with the first game, Manchester City versus Tottenham. Tottenham surprising some people, winning 1-0 in their brand new stadium. Son scoring a goal in the 80th minute when it looked like City was pretty much dominating the entire game, but Son was able to grab that goal at the end to win 1-0. So, Lucas, even though Tottenham are going into the second leg 1-0, do you think they have a chance to beat City, who are, inarguably the favorite in this tie?
So what I will say about that is, that was one of the most interesting games, I could say, probably speak for all of us, in the entire Champions League so far. I mean, we're in the quarterfinals. This is where it really gets interesting. But, looking at Manchester City and Tottenham, they play each other 3 times in, 2 weeks. That's a lot of time for each other to recognize each other's tactics, to kind of, build off of that. So right now I think it's really up in the air if Tottenham can beat Manchester City. I think they do have the advantage right now, already having a goal lead on them. However, we saw that, there's a goal lead with Juventus and Madrid, and then, not Juventus, Ajax and Madrid. But, Ajax will be able to come back and overtake that. So I don't think anyone's safe right now, so I'm really interested to see what happens.
Yeah, obviously you can't count out Manchester City with the depth they have in their squad. So many good players. But look, Tottenham put in a good performance.
They saved that penalty.
They saved penalty save Aguero missing that, but I think generally they set their team up very well. Taxes didn't let City play out of the back like they're used to, so definitely a good performance from Tottenham, but I still think City are the favorites and they might go through just because of all the depth they have.
They're hunting for the quadruple right now.
For sure, but we'll see how that pans out. And we'll talk about the other matchup from the day. Liverpool, I would say pretty easily beating Porto 2-0, what people were expecting. So Jessica, do Porto have any chance of advancing it after the second game?
I definitely don't think so. I think Liverpool also just has the better team, and I think they're really looking to win champions just because they could also potentially win the Premier League, and I think that would be huge for them to win.
Yeah, Liverpool's a club who, haven't won a big trophy in a really long time, and if they could make it to the semifinal, get some momentum, then continue in the league. We can be looking at a historic Liverpool team, especially with that front three of Salah, Mane, and Firmino.
With Shaqiri off the bench.
It's just lethal. So definitely for me, Liverpool probably going to advance, and we'll see how far they get. But we'll go to a somber subject for me as being a Manchester United fan, them losing at home 1-0 to Barcelona. But I do want to point out that they did lose 2-0 at home to PSG last round and still made it through. But I'll throw it over to you, Lucas. What did you think of this tie in general?
It was very interesting to see, because Manchester United looked fairly composed throughout the whole game. They never looked flustered. They never looked like they were, the front three of Barcelona was too much for them. And they definitely, they held their own for the most part of the game. But losing on an own goal is always difficult, especially when it's a home game in the Champions League. And now they have to go all the way down to the Camp Nou, and, they're facing a Barcelona team that, has not looked this good in a very long time, since 2015 when they won the treble. So I'm definitely very interested to see if, Barcelona can, hold through, park the bus, and, kind of maintain their lead that they have right now. But it's also, it's going to be interesting to see if, Manchester United will be able to redo that whole, amazing comeback they had last week.
Yeah, definitely. Even though I'm a United fan, I'm not delusional. Definitely Barcelona, the favorites to advance. Just such a great team. Messi's on top of his game right now, and when he's playing like this, he can't be stopped. But some interesting decisions from Solskjaer tactically. Taking out 2 of his strikers when he needed a goal was a little bit weird to me, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But
there's enough strikers on that team to go around.
Yeah, that is true, but we'll see how it plays out in the second time. And I think we'll end talking about the last matchup, which was Ajax-Juventus. Jessica, obviously Ajax beating your favorite team, Real Madrid, last time. They were able to tie this game 1-1. I actually think Ajax were the better team in this game, but obviously Ronaldo was able to score that great goal. So how do you see the second tie playing out?
I definitely agree with you that Ajax was the better team, and I think there's a lot of depth on that team too, a lot of good young players. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they came back and win it, because I can really tell that when you have a really young team, I feel like you have a lot more to gain and to lose.
Yeah, definitely. 2 players on that team that I like to point out, Frankie de Jong and Delic, their center back, who's their captain at age 19, which is crazy, but he's just an unbelievable center back, and that team's really young. I can honestly see Juventus going. I can honestly see Ajax going to Juventus and winning just because.
No, and you look at those players also. There's Ziyech and Tadic. Like at first, they're not that outstanding.
Yeah.
And then the Champions League comes around, and they're
Yeah.
Messi and Ronaldo. So it's good to see what happens with those guys.
Obviously Juventus the more experienced team, but Ajax did in Madrid. Who knows? They could do it again, but we'll see how that plays out. We'll talk about it next time. That's all we have for Studio 90, and more SportsZone after this.
Hello and welcome back to SportsZone. This is our baseball segment, Getting the Third. I'm Camden Crystal, joined here with Lucas Werner and Noah Haynes. So the regular season has gotten underway. We're about 12 games in. And so far, what we're going to look back on now is which teams are overperforming and which teams are underperforming to what we were expecting so far this regular season. We're going to start with Lucas. Who do you think is underperforming or playing below what we were expected so far this season?
Yeah, so the biggest team that I've seen that's been underperforming so far are the Colorado Rockies. Last year we saw them, defeat the World Series favorite Cubs out of the NL, in that first wild card game. A little personal for you. A little personal, a little bit. But, no, we definitely saw them, they're performing well into the playoffs. They gave the Brewers a tough time, in the second round. But this year they came and they're just awful. You look at Nolan Arenado, always leads the league in home runs. No home runs so far. Charlie Blackmon, no home runs. They're both hitting like 270 with like 2 RBIs. And this is at, the Mile High Stadium way out there. So it's definitely interesting to see them, not performing the way you would typically see them. And you have other players like Ian Desmond, who like last year was hitting north of 300, is hitting 151 right now as a qualified hitter. So, a team that depends so much on its bats and has so much money invested into these players who are supposed to hit for contact, supposed to hit for power, they're really not getting anything out of that right now. So that's definitely a problem that I've seen so far with them this season.
Yeah, Lucas, I think you definitely make a good point. The Rockies, they're a team that definitely built themselves around their offense as opposed to their defense. You can't see many starting pitchers on that roster who really go deep into a game or, give up less than about 4 runs. So the fact that the Rockies are not only not hitting well, but also aren't hitting for power in a field that people know the ball travels further because of that thin air. The Rockies really need to figure out those bats because otherwise, I don't know if they can be that playoff team again. The fact that David Dahl seems to be your best hitter is definitely a bad sign for the Rockies, considering they have multiple perennial all-stars on that roster.
Right.
Now, Noah, let's go to you. Who do you think is underperforming?
I think it's bold to say that the biggest disappointment thus far has been the Rockies, considering when the defending World Series champs, Boston Red Sox, are 3-9. They're not in a very tough division as of right now. The Orioles, their highest paid player, Chris Davis, off to a horrendous start. The Yankees beat up with injuries. I mean, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Rays have performed really well thanks to Blake Snell, but I think that's the huge difference is Snell pitching extremely well, helping the Rays, and Chris Sale, 0-3 in his first 3 starts. He's an ace. They need him to do better. 3-9, that's just not going to get
especially
it done.
with that new contract Sale has.
Exactly.
Extension.
Exactly. So the Red Sox really need to get things together, and Chris Sale's going to be a focal point for them if they're going to want to make a move. But I think it's still really on in the season, but I think off to a terrible start, especially with the Yankees, who are only going to get better now from this point on during the season. So you would think. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be a tough division, I think, in the AL East for sure.
No, I think you definitely bring, this is the team that won the World Series last year. People were thinking this could be like the Warriors of the MLB.
I mean, there needs
and here
to
they
be.
are.
Yeah, there's a stat out there probably that this might be one of the worst starts to a defending World Series champion.
Yeah, World Series hangover.
No, yeah, it really
Series
gives credence to the idea that there is a such thing as a World Series hangover for teams.
For sure.
And the fact that, this roster, you look at it, it's hard to find the weak point. Even
You can't.
Rafael Devers, who people said
Stud.
was the weakest point in their regular season last year, in the playoffs he exploded, and he's a young player who's showing a lot of upside.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
it's so weird to see a team like this where you can't see weakness in any position,
Bogarts,
except maybe
yeah.
closer because they didn't re-sign Craig
Kimbrel.
Kimbrel.
True.
Maybe that could be the issue.
But no one would sign Craig Campbell.
Right.
Yeah,
still waiting on
he's still
contract.
waiting. So
Yeah.
Nobody wants that goatee.
Yeah.
But we'll just have to see with the Red Sox. But now let's go a little more positive. Lucas, who do you think is your upside team so far this year?
So a team that's definitely surprised me so far this year has been the Pittsburgh Pirates. No, the last couple of years, the NL Central's gotten super strong with these mega teams. The Cubs, the Brewers, even the Cardinals and the Reds completely boosting their rosters in this last offseason. The team that kind of got forgotten was the Pirates, and they've been selling everybody. But somehow, they're second in the division right now in the NL Central. They're beating teams like the Cubs and the Cardinals so far. And they're definitely looking like a team that maybe not playoff bound, but definitely, exceeding, the minuscule expectations they had coming into the season. So it's interesting to see how they go on moving forward. But I'm definitely, I'm rooting for them in a slight way to, improve and kind of show some people wrong. But not to beat the Cubs.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Man, the Pirates are definitely an interesting team because they're a team that's always struggled, I feel, with like their identity. So they lost Andrew McCutchen.
Yeah, they're
They lost
talented.
Garrett Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what you could see as their, like their front head for both their offensive and defensive side of their team. And here they are with a bunch of guys that people really don't know.
Yeah, a lot.
You can say people know Starling Marte,
But he was suspended
a
for
lot
80
of last
games.
season. So they really are a team with a lot of no-name people on their roster, unless you're a Pirates fan, I guess.
Yeah.
Or
But they're a
Chris
team-
Archer.
Oh, Chris Archer, yes, that's a pickup. But he had a great season with the Rays, and then as soon as he went to the Pirates, he seemed to disappear. Maybe it's just part of Pittsburgh Pirates culture, but it'll
There's a lot
definitely be
of
interesting to see.
drama in Pittsburgh
Because the way you
recently,
make
so.
names for your team is you win a lot of games.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if the Pirates can keep this up. It'll be great to see them, perform better than they have the last couple of years because it's definitely been a disappointment for the city of Pittsburgh.
Sure.
Noah, who's your upside?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually really surprised. I got to go NL East, how competitive that division is right now. You'd think the Phillies acquiring Harper after a really good season last year, you thought they got off to a really good start. They kind of slowed down a little bit. As a Phillies fan, I'm a little worried every time Harper comes up to the plate. That's, a lot of money for each plate appearance per game. But I think the real thing is the Nationals. The Nationals seem like they're going to hang around a little bit. A team that lost their best player, a crushing blow for them. They're hanging around right with the Braves and the Phillies. So the NL East for sure, and I'm not, even without Harper this year, maybe that'll actually help the Nationals. We'll have to see, but I think definitely the NL East is something to watch.
The National starting pitching is
No,
just
that's exactly what
that's
I was
the
about to
thing,
say.
right, that's the
Because
thing.
what the Nationals gave up in signing Bryce Harper to a lucrative deal, they were betting their money on this future outfield with Juan Soto, Victor Robles.
well, they
And
brought
And
it.
they were
Soto-
able to sign
and
Patrick
Soto-
Corbin.
And-
Right,
who's
and
a
Soto,
great-
I think, is the next star, one of the next stars in this league. That even without Harper, I think the Nationals still have a great piece with him. And like Lucas said, great pitching rotation.
I think Juan
Very-
Soto
very
deserves the
under-
mark of he's only 20.
He's only, it's unbelievable.
Very
More than a
under-
certain someone.
Underrated move that they did this summer was acquiring Dozier. That was definitely a big
Kind of,
signing.
yeah.
Getting
Utility player.
40 home runs from a second baseman is rare in today's league. So it's definitely, good to see, he's producing here.
Yeah, I think the Nationals, what they gave up in having that offensive presence in Harper, they've gone for a more balanced team
Yep.
with a lot of youth going forward.
For sure, absolutely.
But now with a little more fun, let's go to Lucas. I know it'll be tough for you, sore spot, especially considering you're wearing the shirt today. But after seeing how the Cubs have started this year, how do you see them going the rest of the season?
So we scored 12 runs our first game, and then we lost 7 in a row. So definitely, an issue.
Rough stretch.
A rough stretch. We just got to, find our bats again. Best first baseman in the league, best third baseman in the league. We have it in us. We just have to get back to our World Series form.
What do you think it says about this team that, a guy like, something that I noticed early in the season is they sent down Ian Happ, who seemed like he was a mainstay
yeah.
roster guy
For sure.
last season. What do you think it says about the team? Do you think it's because they were already struggling and then they sent him down, because they're thinking, oh, we want to get him some work in the minors while we're still working things out with the chemistry up at the major league level?
Yeah.
What do you think they're trying to send a
So
message with?
the
a
biggest
move like
thing
that?
when looking at the Ian Happ situation is he'll either get you a hit, a home run, or a strikeout. And, there's another, pretty famous Cub right now who does the exact same thing in Javi Baez. They play the same position. So it's very hard to, have, the main player and, his backup both kind of in that loop of, are they going to strike out or, are they going to get a hit?
Yeah, I'll say just to add about Javi Baez, I think one thing in what I've seen from the Cubs this year already is I think Baez has definitely improved in his plate appearances. He's one of those guys when he just came up from the league that I thought he was looking to swing big.
Still every play.
He still does.
Still does every
at-bat.
time, but he has better discipline, I think, at the plate. There's 2 strikes on him, and there's an off-speed pitch out of the zone. He's not going to chase it. So I think it has been good to see Javi Baez improve a little bit.
Yeah, because Javi Baez, what's so special about him is he can not only hit for power, he's not a slow guy.
No.
So if you get him on base, he's a threat.
Oh, yeah.
And he's definitely aggressive on the base path.
For sure.
So we could get on there.
For sure.
I'd have to choose, if I was going to choose a team, it's so tough to choose who's been so hot to start the season. But I think we got to go with my Seattle Mariners. No, I can guarantee nobody saw this coming. And we played virtually no competition, really. The best team we played, the Padres, who are top in their division. We lost 2 out of 3. But it's been so nice to see the Mariners. They brought in another international pitcher. They seem to create kind of like a journeyman starting pitching roster, including Felix, who's struggling even though he's aging. But, I think they built the bullpen around him where they can really work around the fact that, he doesn't have the same zip on his fastball, same break on his curveball. But, yeah, the offense has been so surprising. They brought in a bunch of veteran players with Edwin Encarnacion, Jay Bruce.
Yeah.
But it'll be definitely fun to watch them going forward. I'm worried once they start seeing, greater competition.
For sure.
But I think we should stop for now. We're getting the sign from the booth. So that'll be all for Getting the Third this week. See you next time on SportsZone.
Welcome back to SportsZone. This is Ice Time, where we break down all the key matchups in the NHL. I'm Ryan Siegel. It was night 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs last night. Let's get into it. Let's start off with the President's Trophy winning Tampa Bay Lightning. The Columbus Blue Jackets were on the ropes all season, all 82 games, made a lot of moves at the deadline to try to get into the playoffs. They just squeaked in, but now they're playing like a playoff team. Tampa Bay took a 3-0 lead early at the end of the first period, and then Columbus with 4 unanswered goals, topped off by a Seth Jones power play goal to win it for the Blue Jackets. 4-3, they take a 1-0 series lead, a shocking 1-0 series lead. Many people did not think that Columbus would come back from a 3-goal deficit down in Amalie Arena. It was a very exciting game to watch. Seth Jones having a day, as well as Zach Werenski and Nick Foligno also having big nights. But it should be very interesting now. How will Tampa Bay, the President's Trophy winning, the team with 62 regular season wins, that's right, 62 regular season wins, how will they rebound? Swinging out to the Metropolitan Division out on Long Island, the New York Islanders defeated the formerly 2-time Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins in overtime on a Josh Bailey rebound goal after a great move by Matt Barzal. This game back and forth all night long. The Islanders, their last couple games here in the Coliseum, and it was rocking, to say the least. 30 seconds into the game, looked like the Islanders had a goal, reviewed, challenged, offside. That did not hinder the Islanders. 4 goals, including one with 5 minutes into overtime. Josh Bailey putting in the winner on a Matt Barzal rebound. A very interesting game, and going to be a very interesting series. The Islanders, seemingly nothing to lose. Coach Barry Trotz trying to get his Islanders to a potential matchup with his former team, the Washington Capitals. Getting into that in a little bit. Out in the West, 3 matchups took place. The first one being the Dallas Stars going into Smashville, Nashville, and beating the Nashville Predators 3-2. Ben Bishop, a great goalie, a playoff experienced goalie, a guy who has been to conference finals over and over and over again. Pekka Rinne has been to the Stanley Cup finals as well, and this is going to be a collision of a series. But Dallas drawing first blood, getting the first win of the series, 3-2. Swinging out into the Canadian the Canadian West, if you will. The St. Louis Blues, perhaps one of the hottest teams in hockey coming in to the Stanley Cup playoffs, beating the Winnipeg Jets in whiteout conditions, 2-1. A back-and-forth game. Patrick Laine with the lone goal for Winnipeg, an absolute laser into the upper corner of the net, but then 2 unanswered goals for St. Louis, giving them the W. And then the last game to face off last week was the San Jose Sharks and the Vegas Golden Knights, a rematch of last season's second-round matchup where Vegas won in a sweep against the Sharks. That will not be the case this year. San Jose, 5 goals on the board for a 5-2 win, just absolutely outplayed the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas, the defending Western Conference champions, needing to put together a lot better performance. They are going to need their stars, Marc-Andre Fleury, in net to play like Marc-Andre Fleury, and they're going to need their top line of William Karlsson, Riley Smith, and Jonathan Marchessault to put up numbers like they did last year. But then again, in my opinion, I think San Jose's got this one this year. Vegas, not the same team, and you had a lot of guys have a lot of career years last year. But it'll be a very interesting series. Vegas at home is an absolute force to be reckoned with, and it should be a very interesting series. 3 games will be facing off today. To start off, the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Washington Capitals, will take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Washington dominating the season series, winning all 4 games against the Hurricanes. Justin Williams and Rod Brind'Amour coming in to the nation's capital to have to take on a very loaded roster. However, on the back end for the Capitals, they are missing Michael Kempny, out for the season with a torn hamstring. Should be very questionable on the back end. Christian Juice will have to step up and fill that 6th defense spot. You have John Carlson, Nick Jensen, obviously the pairing of Niskanen and Orlov. They're probably arguably the top pair for the Capitals. But those 4 will have to step up and play key minutes going down the stretch here. Swinging up north, we are renewing once again another storied rivalry and another chapter in this playoff saga. The Toronto Maple Leafs against the Boston Bruins. It should be a very interesting series. I think this one's going to go to 7. Could go either way. Obviously, Toronto with seemingly a lot more to play for, with the big free agent signing of Jake Muzzin and of obviously John Tavares. This is going to be huge for Toronto. This is a big stepping point. Number 2 and number 3 in the league, Boston and Toronto respectively. Boston having the upper hand on Toronto in this playoff series in the last couple years, including, who could forget, a few years back when Boston came all the way back from 4-1 down to win 5-4 in overtime. Thanks a lot, Patrice Bergeron. But I got to give Boston the edge. They get that 7th game at home. I think that they're just a deeper team. They have better goaltending, but it should be a very interesting series. And the last game facing off today to kind of wrap up the round 1 playoff picture is the Calgary Flames taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado Avalanche pretty much just one line deep of Landeskog, McKinnon, and Mikko Rantanen. Calgary just absolutely loaded. Mark Giordano having a career year, 4 shorthanded goals, tied for 2nd all-time in the NHL with 4 shorthanded goals in a season. And Calgary just having a great year. Mike Smith in net playing extremely well. Noah Hannafin on the back end. Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan. The list goes on. There's a reason why they were number 1 in the West this year. I got to give the edge to Calgary in 6. But going through all of them, I still got to go Tampa Bay in 6. I'm going to stick with my prediction here. I think it's going to be Pittsburgh in 7. I think the Islanders don't have the legs to beat Pittsburgh in a 7-game series, even with Barry Trotz on the bench. I still am going with Nashville in 7. I think St. Louis in 6. San Jose in 7. The Capitals in 5. No, there's no bias there. Boston in 7, and then Calgary in 6. Those are my predictions, and that's all I have for this segment of Ice Time. More Sports Zone coming to you after this.
Welcome back to SportsZone. This is our NBA basketball segment, Throwing It Up. I'm Camden Crystal, joined here with Noah and Aaron. So the regular season's over. We're looking at the playoffs. But to start, we need to talk about the biggest news coming out today, that Magic Johnson is stepping down as GM for the Los Angeles Lakers. Aaron, let's start with you. What are your initial thoughts on this?
I mean, I think everyone was surprised by the news that Magic stepped down, Lakers legend, the guy the guys revered in LA, and for him to just step down like that in a weird press conference, one of the weirdest press conferences I've ever seen, it was just crazy to me. But I mean, I think it makes sense. Like Magic from the beginning, we knew that he has a lot of other business ventures. He wasn't fully committed to being the Lakers' president of basketball operations, and that's a full-time job, 100% job. And if you can't commit to that job, you got other things going on. It's not going to work. And you look at just some of the weird decisions he made with all the one-year signing Rondo, Lance Stevenson. Players, they needed shooters to surround LeBron, and they didn't get shooters.
Well, he had the quote in the beginning of the season where he was so confident. He was saying that we need we need playmakers.
Yeah, he said they needed tough guys.
Yeah, we need tough guys.
Yeah, but what they really need to surround LeBron with shooters. So I think Magic was just,
and that's proven. That's what worked. And every time that LeBron was able to make a run to the playoffs is because he had people he could kick it out to because he's a driving player.
Absolutely. I think the other thing, it's definitely true. I mean, look at some of those series with the Cavs teams when Iman Shumpert and J.R. Smith couldn't hit shots like that. That
ruins the team.
Right, ruins the team, exactly. But I think the friction with also Walton, people thought he was going to go immediately when the season ended, but I guess they had different opinions on that, and I think that's why Magic decided to step down. But I think, the Lakers, I mean, they... Like we talked about before, the 1-year contracts to a lot of guys, they have a lot of work to do to build around LeBron in the coming years, and I guess Magic didn't want to be or had a different opinion on that, but it's definitely going to be a new direction.
And he talked about how he said that he was leaving, but he had set the team up.
Right, which I don't think he did. He has not. Right, he has not.
How do you see the Lakers? Do you think this changes how the Lakers do next year?
Well, I mean, you're looking at this offseason.
And assuming that they keep Luke Walton at coach.
Right.
Because that could be the next move.
Yeah. So you got all these marquee free agents this summer, but if I'm a marquee free agent, I don't want to sign with the Lakers. Not only has LeBron
look like a mess.
LeBron's declined this season.
They don't even want to be in his movie. Much less stay in LA to play basketball.
Organizationally, they're a mess. I mean, if I'm a marquee free agent, I'm not signing with the Lakers, and I think that's the biggest issue. Yeah. And right now, this organization is in shambles. I mean, you still got Rob Pelinka there, who people around the league don't really respect, and it's just a weird situation. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out if they do land a marquee free agent this summer. I don't personally think they will, but we'll see.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. Like, they did crumble towards the end because of injuries with Lonzo and Kuzma and stuff like that. But, I mean, you have to think, like, they're going to have to rebuild probably through the draft in some way. It's not like they're going to trade for Anthony Davis. It doesn't seem so.
And that was the biggest oddity, is they went on, like, a 7-game winning streak to end the season.
Right.
Where they were already eliminated from the playoffs. Why aren't you looking to get a better draft
pick? And LeBron was
pick?
out,
Because clearly what you have right now,
it's not good.
And either injury-ridden or otherwise, the team wasn't there and couldn't make the playoffs.
Right.
So normally what you do is you look to the draft, try to get another player. Maybe you need like another shooter to build around that team. But I guess that's not what they're looking for.
The thing is, if I'm Lonzo Ball, if I'm Brandon Ingram, I'm Kyle Kuzma, LeBron wanted to trade me.
Yeah.
Right?
He was prepared to
I
get
mean,
rid
that
of
locker room cannot be.
He wanted to get me out of there, so I'm not gonna play for this guy because he wanted to trade me for Anthony Davis. So.
Yeah. For sure.
And other news we want to talk about. So the playoffs are just about to get underway. The first game will be
this weekend.
Yeah, it'll be Nets Sixers. Oh, of course you would know. So how about we let's go around, each pick a team that we think could be a surprise contender going into these playoffs.
For me, I'm going to look in the Western Conference at the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
I think they're a team that not that many people are talking about. I mean, they're the 3rd seed right now, and I just think they can make a run. With Damian Lillard, and they made some great signings. I think bringing in Enes Kanter was huge for them, getting another big man.
And Seth Curry has been shooting like his brother.
Zach Collins is big.
Zach Collins, but he's just an athlete.
For Nurkic,
But that Nurkic injury, how do you think that affects them?
I think it does affect them, but right now, I mean, I think they're going to make the Western Conference Finals.
You think Kanter can fill that hole for them?
I do think.
All right, Noah. I wonder which team you're gonna pick.
I was gonna say Sixers, because I can only hope. But as a Sixers fan, you do have to say the Celtics are gonna be I think a tough team. The first round matchup against the Pacers is gonna be interesting, but I think they'll have an easier time against Milwaukee than I think the Sixers would have against Toronto. So I think I could see the Celtics coming out of the East. I always can see the Celtics coming out of the East with Kyrie and everything. But I also am going to say I like the Oklahoma City Thunder a little bit. They've started to come on. They were a team that was really bad at the beginning of the season, kind of turned
They've been
things
having
around
some
towards the
trouble
end.
lately. They finished the season.
Not great. However,
rough
they
streak.
still do have guys, Westbrook, Paul George, great defenders. Jeremy Grant, if he can, behind the 3-point line, he's been sensational this
And
season.
Ferguson coming
yeah.
up.
They have pieces that they can put together, but I think the West is too strong. I mean, you have, like we said, Portland, and then, of course, the Rockets and the Warriors. It's too strong, but I think the Thunder are a team that could be interesting and be a potential tough match for some people in the West.
Yeah, to avoid being biased for my Portland Trailblazers, I'm gonna go with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Okay.
They're definitely a team that have a lot of talent, and I think it would be a great story if the Oklahoma City Thunder could meet the Warriors, and then we could finally see. All I want
It
is
would
that
be.
matchup. Is they built the Thunder up to be a championship team in a lot of people's eyes against the Warriors, and finally have that Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook face up, and then see which team do you think which team, upon them both going separately, finding their own path, leading themselves to the Western Conference Championship, and then seeing which team prevails.
Right.
Because I think that's always been what people have been waiting for since the breakup, is seeing them both at the height of their powers with a good supporting
Collide.
cast around them to leave no questions, and then facing each other in the playoffs.
For sure.
But that's all we have to talk about this week. That'll be our NBA basketball segment, Throwing It Up. See you next on SportsZone. Hello and welcome back to SportsZone. This is our fast-paced debate show, Hot Seat. We're joined here with Lucas and Aaron, where today we'll be arguing who should be the NBA MVP this year, James Harden or Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think I pronounced that right.
You did.
And we're gonna start with Lucas.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, hands down, is the MVP of the NBA. Team best in the East, best record in the NBA. Absolutely insane numbers. He's getting better every single year. Puts in more work
Wait,
than
hold on.
anybody else.
In the Eastern Conference, James Harden is doing this in the much harder Western Conference. You look at how the
where
Rockets
are they?
started the
Fourth?
season.
They're fourth?
No, but they started the season bad. James Harden completely took over.
That's
this
true.
team.
James Harden was the only healthy player on that team.
When Chris Paul was injured, James Harden put up numbers, and this
But,
team.
dude, that entire team got full of studs. Dude, if you look at that, 27 three-pointers made in a game last week by the Rockets. You look at the Bucks, they're
Most of
third
those are from
worst in
James
the league.
Harden.
But the Bucks also have all-stars on their team. How do you account for...
Look, you look at the numbers James Harden put. He's averaging 36 points a game. 36 points a game.
And how
That
many
is
turnovers?
historic.
How many turnovers?
Not that many
His
turnovers.
turnover ratio is second worst in the entire NBA.
Yeah, because he has the highest usage rate by far. You
Exactly.
look at his
Look at
usage rate for
Giannis,
this
look at
Rockets
Giannis.
team,
He's
and when he is
modern-day
used so much,
Superman.
they
He's
are
the
winning games.
Shaquille
They are winning
O'Neal
games.
of 2019. Giannis is literally going out there and he's
How are you
babying
gonna
every
make,
single
how are you
player.
gonna make Giannis MVP when he can't even shoot jump shots? He's not even developed his full game yet, and you're gonna make him the most valuable player. James
If
Harden,
my best
James
player
Harden
is going out there,
offensively is the
if my best player is
he's
going
having
out there,
he is
getting
having
30
the best
points a
offensive
game,
year of all time.
13
the best
rebounds,
offensive year of all
and
time.
8 assists a
you
game.
look not
By not shooting threes, I think that's special.
Wait.
I think he's valuing the team way more than Harden ever could.
Not only are Harden's numbers so high, his points per game are so high, he's doing it efficiently, which is crazy. He's putting
about
up
his
all
turnover
these
rate?
numbers.
That's insanely high, dude.
But
there's nobody around him. There's nobody around him.
Why are you
that
worrying
he's
about the
insane.
turnovers when they're winning games? He has the highest usage rate by far of any player in almost NBA
Okay, let's not make the whole argument offense. Let's turn to defense, because
Last
MVP
week-
is about both sides of the ball.
look,
All NBA first team member Joel Embiid was blocked by Giannis 4 times in a game last week.
I'm not going to argue that James
And
Harden
James
is a
Harden's
better
one of the
defensive
worst
player.
defenders
But
in the league. You see
no,
all these
wait,
videos
no,
of
that
people just
that
running by past him.
James Harden being one of the worst defensive players in the league is a myth, because you see those videos of him, letting players go. Look at him defensively this year, how much he's improved. The Rockets have improved
I'm sorry, how many times he's
defensively
been
this season.
all defensive team? How many times? Giannis has been on it 2 times already.
No, I'm not.
24
I'm
years
not
old.
even arguing that James
Absolute
Harden's a better
beast.
defender. But you look at James Harden's offensive numbers; they can't be questioned. He's having the best offensive year of any player
But
in
I'm
history.
sorry, I thought we were talking about defense. You look over here. Giannis has 2 blocks a game, 2 steals a game consistently every
I'm
single game.
not saying Giannis is a
throughout
bad
the
player
entire
or he's a
season.
bad defender. He's a great defender. He's a great player. But
If you
got,
take-
if
if
you
you
don't
take
give this
Giannis-
award
if
to
you take
James
Giannis
Harden,
out of
it's a
that team-
robbery. It's an absolute
If you take
robbery
Giannis out of
because
that
of the
team,
huge numbers that
the
James
best
Harden's been putting
player
up this season.
is Chris Middleton, who's averaging
Chris
less than
Middleton
20
was an
points.
all-star.
Averaged less than 20
Chris
points a
Middleton was an
game.
all-star. They had Brook Lopez as well, and we're talking about
You want to
him
know why
playing
he was
like
an
this
all-star?
in the
Because Giannis
Eastern
is
Conference.
carrying him. Giannis
In
is opening
the Eastern
floor.
Conference.
He's taking people into the paint and he's
You put
letting them shoot.
you put
easy
James Harden in
threes.
the Eastern Conference, he's putting up even bigger numbers than he's putting up right
No,
now.
he's not. He's putting
Yes,
up the
he
same
is.
numbers. He's one of the best people in the entire NBA. Not the best, though. That goes to Giannis. Freak.
All right, let's go. Give you one more sentence. Aaron, let's start with you.
36 points a game. That's all I have to say.
Lucas.
Triple-double machine.
All right, gentlemen, we're gonna call it there. We'll call. I'll be the decider once we go to hands, or thumbs.
Hands.
Hands. But that is Hot Seats. See you next on SportsZone.
And welcome back to Sports Zone. This is Stumbles, where we give a thumbs up and thumbs down to things in the world of sports and the world at large. I'm going to throw a thumbs up. I haven't been to Sports Zone in a while. I've had a lot of stuff going on this semester, but it's good to be back, though. Thumbs up to that. Thumbs up to NBA playoffs starting soon, which I'm very excited about. I'm not really a big college basketball fan, so I didn't watch too much March Madness, but definitely NBA playoffs. I'm going to be locked in. I'm going to watch almost every game, so I obviously think the Warriors are going to win, but it's going to be interesting to see who makes the Western Conference Finals, who comes out of the East. So I'm really excited. I'm going to give a thumbs down to Magic Johnson. Like, that whole press conference, weird. Like, if he goes, he's saying, I want to work out with Ben Simmons. I want to congratulate these guys. I want to do this. I want to do that. What did he think the job of basketball operations was? Like, I don't know what he thought that job entailed. Like, if you're going to be the president of basketball operations, you gotta go to Poland to see, if you're going to get this backup point guard. That's just not the work Magic's going to put in, So thumbs down to Magic, who I think is a great guy, but just not really suited for that job. And I'm going to throw a thumbs up to Tottenham for beating Manchester City because, I hate City. And I did not think Tottenham had any chance to win that game, but hey, there you go. Tottenham did win, and I don't necessarily think they're going to win the second leg, but it was just great to see Manchester City really upset after that game. So, thumbs up to Tottenham. And I'm also going to throw a thumbs up to Kyle Korver, who I don't know many people read the Players Tribune piece about white privilege, but it was really good, really insightful. I think everyone should read it. So, thumbs up to Kyle Korver. And that's all I got. I'll throw it over to Lucas.
Thanks, Aaron. So I'm going to start by doing a big thumbs down to the Chicago Cubs. We are way better than how we're doing right now and what our record says. So I'm very upset at them right now, so they get a thumbs down. I'm going to switch it up and give a big thumbs up to Ajax Amsterdam. They've definitely, outperformed all their expectations this year. And, they tied with Ronaldo, and it's really interesting to see, all of them, succeeding out there. So I wish, De Jong and Delight the best at Barcelona once they leave this summer. I'm going to give a big thumbs up to, Javi Baez. I know I was talking a lot, about how bad the Cubs were, but Baez has been producing. Another thumbs up to a irrelevant player, Kostas Antetokounmpo of the Dallas Mavericks, Giannis's little brother. So not a lot of people know him, but, he's one of the more raw prospects in the entire league right now, and he's definitely going to, be a star one day. I'm calling it right here, right now, in April of 2019. I'm going to give a big thumbs up to the Virginia Cavaliers on winning the tournament. Kyle Guy and that whole crew, they went through some disappointment, but they really showed up this year, and they finally got that elusive championship that they've been missing for the last few years. And finally, I'm going to give a big thumbs up to Zion. Zion to the Chicago Bears. We need a new tight end. So I definitely think that, he'll be a pretty good prospect. Pairing him along, maybe defensive end next to Khalil Mack. That's definitely an interesting thing to go. So that's all the thumbs I have. So I'm going to throw it over to Camden. So, all right.
All right, I'm going to start with what everyone's been waiting for. A big thumbs up to the Seattle Mariners for their start to the season. I want to give a big shout out to Daniel Vogelback, who he's been on a tear with the Mariners lately. He looks like a discount, what's the name of the outfielder on the Cubs? Shh. Oh God, what's his name? whatever. But he's been hitting home runs like it's going out of style. The Mariners have been playing great. The starting pitching's been there. And the offense with a lot of players that people either forgot about, and players like Jay Bruce, or players that are young and coming up, like Mitch Haniger, who are just really like showing that this team is coming together, even though a lot of people thought that they were going to be a disappointment after trading away, key players like James Paxton, Gene Segura. So it'll be really exciting to watch them the rest of the year. We'll see what happens when they start playing real talent. But it's been fun to watch them, and that's been hard to say for a long time. I'm going to also give a thumbs down to Magic Johnson. He created this mess, then decides just to bounce as soon as people start looking to him as the problem. It seems like he's really just trying to operate as he's using his star power to operate however he sees fit, and that really shows in where the Lakers are right now, I think. And the fact that he said they're set upon him leaving, I think is kind of a scapegoat to say, oh, if they underperform now, it's because I left and they aren't operating the way that I set them up to. He really tries to create a scapegoat in that press conference for if the Lakers underperform upon him leaving. Other than that, outside sports, I give a thumbs up to the weather. It's been very nice outside despite the humidity. Hopefully that continues. It looks like for at least the next week it's supposed to be around 70, 60. So that'll be nice as long as there's wind. Otherwise, it's going to be super hot. But that's all I really have for this week. I'm gonna throw it over to Noah. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. For the hot seat, I'm gonna have to give the win to Lucas. He definitely made a good point with his 2 steals, 2 blocks points. But outside of that, I do have to say Giannis does seem like the more complete player on both sides of the ball, and he's definitely made a team in the Milwaukee Bucks that a lot of people didn't see them improving that much. And since last season into becoming, number 1 seed, definite favorite out of the Eastern Conference. Also, besides the fact that Aaron basically gave it up as soon as we stopped the hot seat, saying that he believes Harden shouldn't win anyway, besides averaging 36 points. But congratulations to Lucas. Better luck next time, Aaron. But now I'll throw it off to Noah.
What's up, everybody? So first of all, thumbs down, Camden, terrible call. Lucas did not win that. To start with, start off, thumbs up, Dwayne Wade. Good career, finishing it off the right way, really good for the NBA as well. Dirk as well. Thumbs up, I guess, for the Virginia Cavaliers for winning, but thumbs down to March Madness overall. Not too many upsets this year. A lot of Sweet 16, 1-4, 2-3. So not too many big upsets, deep runs by anyone. So a little thumbs down there, but also kind of a thumbs down. Everybody's saying what a great run it was for Virginia, losing the first game to then winning the national championship this past year. I don't think that's really true. They have star players year after year. I don't think it's a magical 2 seasons for them. Thumbs up though, Tiger Woods currently Thursday around 3:30. I know it's just Thursday, but he's tied for the lead right now with 3 under. So that's actually pretty impressive for him. Also, yeah, thumbs up to the weather and for this being my second time too. So now I'm gonna swing it over to Ryan.
All right, bringing it home here. I'm going to thumbs down Cam. Crap call on the winner there. Sorry, but when you make an argument and you are adamant, you make the line in your sand, 2 blocks and 2 steals a game. I understand that in the NBA that may not seem like a lot, or you can argue that it's not a lot. Oh wait, you can argue that because it isn't a lot. Period. I mean, I understand, James Harden, 36 points a game, his defense, very suspect. But if I had to, everybody says, oh yeah, the MVP is really about every aspect of the game. BS. Everybody cares about scoring in the NBA. That's why there's 100 points a game in every game. Nobody cares if you can play defense. Nobody cares. Steph Curry, just because he can play defense as well, if he didn't drop 30 points a night, nobody would make him the MVP of the league. I'm sorry. That's why you have an all-defensive team. Giannis can stay there. I don't know if Milwaukee's going to make it out of the East. I also don't watch enough basketball to know better. So don't take my word for it for once. But I will also give, thumbs up to Lucas because, he finally got a win. When you're ready to come at the champ, don't miss. You still got 2 heavy hitters that you have lost to on regular occasions. After the heavyweight bout of Cam and I. And thumbs down to the Seattle Mariners argument of being the best team in baseball. That's like saying the New York Jets when they go 1-0 are the best team in football. It's just not true. I mean, this is April baseball. It doesn't matter what the Yankees record is. It just is the fact they also got 20 guys on the DL. But they'll turn it around. The standings will shake out in the right spot. But yeah, I got a thumbs down the Seattle Mariners there. I'm going to thumbs up the New York Rangers. We got the 2nd overall pick. Capo Caco is coming in New York. Best name to say in sports, bar none. That is his real name for all of you that do not believe me on that. The Finnish phenom. Would have liked Jack Hughes, but it looks like the New Jersey Devils are going to get another 1st overall pick because they know what to do with them. But I guess we will. I'll take Capo Caco. Another Finn, strong power forward, very good player. It should be a very good pickup for the New York Rangers. Also, I'm going to thumbs down the NCAA and mainly the Virginia Compliance Office. For those of you who don't know the story, I believe it was Kyle Guy and his fiance are getting married, which, hats off to you, Kyle Guy. So his wife, or his soon-to-be wife, set up like a wedding registry for them. The NCAA said, or Virginia Compliance Office said, you got to shut that down because you're technically getting gifts for your wedding, which everybody else is allowed to do. The NCAA didn't comment, but Virginia was worried that the NCAA was going to crack down. That's getting gifts from fans and stuff. I think that's complete garbage. You're basically telling the kid because he's a Division I athlete, he cannot have a wedding registry. I'm sorry, but his fiance's got to be pissed. That's just complete and utter BS. But it sounds like the NCAA is going to allow him to have his wedding registry, so they might have made one smart decision. They've still failed everywhere else. Next stop, paying athletes. Not going to happen, but we're going to give it a shot. I'm going to thumbs up all 4 teams in the Final Four. 3 teams had a chance at their first ever national championship, which is a absolute, impressive time. Again, hats off to Virginia for a win, a turnaround that for the ages, even though it was a little dicey this year against Bradley in the first half. Shout out to Virginia for that, and shout out to Tony Bennett. Thumbs up to the weather. It's been 70 degrees. It's been beautiful. Thumbs down to Jake Elmsley because he sucks. That will never die. But with that, I believe I am all out of thumbs. Thumbs up to the Masters because it's the best golf tournament in the world. But with that, I am out of thumbs. So for Jessica, Aaron, Cam, Lucas, Noah, I'm Ryan saying so long from SportsZone. Tune in next week.